If I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself and now and then finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary. Errors are not in the art but in the artificers. I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people. We build too many walls and not enough bridges. Every action there is always opposed an equal reaction. Plato is my friend, Aristotle is my friend, but my greatest friend is truth. My powers are ordinary. Only my application brings me success. This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets, could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. Atheism is so senseless. When I look at the solar system, I see the Earth at the right distance from the Sun to receive the proper amounts of heat and light. This did not happen by chance. Truth is ever to be found in simplicity, and not in the multiplicity and confusion of things. I have a fundamental belief in the Bible as the Word of God, written by those who were inspired. I study the Bible daily. Tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. As a blind man has no idea of colors, so have we no idea of the manner by which the all-wise God perceives and understands all things. A man may imagine things that are false, but he can only understand things that are true, for if the things be false, the apprehension of them is not understanding. An object in motion tends to remain in motion along a straight line unless acted upon by an outside force. The proper method for inquiring after the properties of things is to deduce them from experiments. To me there has never been a higher source of earthly honor or distinction than that connected with advances in science. Opposite to godliness is atheism in profession, and idolatry in practice. Atheism is so senseless and odious to mankind, that it never had many professors. Gravity may put the planets into motion, but without the divine power, it could never put them into such a circulating motion as they have about the sun, and therefore, for this as well as other reasons, God is the same God, always and everywhere. He is omnipresent not virtually only, but also substantially, for virtue cannot subsist without substance. I do not love to be printed on every occasion, much less to be dunned and teased by foreigners about mathematical things or to be thought by our own people to be trifling away my time about them when I should be about the king's business. It is the weight, not numbers of experiments that is to be regarded. If I have done the public any service, it is due to my patient thought. Are not rays of light very small bodies emitted from shining substances? We are to admit no more causes of natural things than such as are both true and sufficient to explain their appearances. There are more sure marks of authenticity in the Bible than in any profane history. I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself, I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself now and then in finding a smoother pebble or prettier shell than ordinary. I have explained the phenomena of the heavens and of our sea by the force of gravity, but I have not yet assigned a cause to gravity. The moon gravitates towards the earth and by the force of gravity is continually drawn off from a rectilinear motion and retained in its orbit. Fidelity and allegiance sworn to the king is only such a fidelity and obedience as is due to him by the law of the land, for were that faith and allegiance more than what the law requires, the center of the system of the world is immovable. Christ comes as a thief in the night, and it is not for us to know the times and seasons which God hath put into his own breast. To explain all nature is too difficult a task for any one man or even for any one age. 'Tis much better to do a little with certainty and leave the rest for others that come after you. We account the Scriptures of God to be the most sublime philosophy. If a projectile were deprived of the force of gravity, it would not be deflected toward the earth but would go off in a straight line into the heavens and do so with uniform motion, provided that the resistance of the air were removed. The description of right lines and circles, upon which geometry is founded, belongs to mechanics. Geometry does not teach us to draw these lines, but requires them to be drawn. The ignis fatuus is a vapor shining without heat. Gravity must be caused by an agent acting constantly according to certain laws, but whether this agent be material or immaterial I have left to the consideration of my readers. The motions which the planets now have could not spring from any natural cause alone, but were impressed by an intelligent agent. God in the beginning formed matter and solid, massy, hard, impenetrable, movable particles, of such sizes and figures, and with such other properties, and in such proportion to space, as most conduce to the end for which he formed them. Religion and philosophy are to be preserved distinct. We are not to introduce divine revelations into philosophy, nor philosophical opinions into religion. We are certainly not to relinquish the evidence of experiments for the sake of dreams and vain fictions of our own devising, nor are we to recede from the analogy of nature, which is wont to be simple and always consonant to itself. The word God usually signifies Lord, but every Lord is not a God. It is the dominion of a spiritual being which constitutes a God. A true, supreme, or imaginary dominion makes a true, supreme, or imaginary God. It may be that there is no such thing as an equable motion, whereby time may be accurately measured. All motions may be accelerated or retarded, but the true, or equable, progress of absolute time is liable to no change. Infinites, when considered absolutely without any restriction or limitation, are neither equal nor unequal, nor have any certain proportion one to another, and therefore, the principle that all infinites are equal is a precarious one. Hypotheses should be subservient only in explaining the properties of things but not assumed in determining them, unless so far as they may furnish experiments.